Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video, looking at weather for the next 8 to 10 days. In today's video, this takes us to around the 27th of September, so go right up towards the end of the month. Looks like it's going to be a bit mixed next week, but I think the overall trend as we go towards the end of September is probably to build in some high pressure, and that could take us through into the start of October as well. Before I get on with that, though, just to say about the ads, there's articles on all pages at Gazos, a guide to browse widgets and click through the links, should be helping to pay for the website. Thanks very much for doing that. So we're going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the PSU website, as we usually do with these 8 to 10 day video musings. We've flipped the charts around, so now the ECMWF is on the top and the GFS is on the bottom. And 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure, low pressure being moved around by jets running above. Blue extrapolates low pressure, red extrapolates to high pressure. So what we see on both of the charts, both of the ECM and the GFS charts, is that we've got a ridge sitting up to the northeast for 8 to 10 days time in across Scandinavia. Trough of low pressure is in the Atlantic as well. And we're also building in a bit of a ridge from the southwest also. Building a bit of a ridge in from the Azores. So what this is doing is sending the jet stream further north as high pressure begins to take over. It's probably a transitional period, but over time I think this is going more towards anticyclonic conditions, and I think what's probably going to happen is that these ridges are going to form one big area of high pressure. It won't be as big as that, but one big area of high pressure covering many central and western parts of Europe. So the trend here is to build in some high pressure. So the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles are showing this up quite nicely. Temperatures are going to be pretty disappointing up to the end of month. These are the dates along the bottom of the chart just here. Red line is 30-year temperature average. So you're going to be a bit above average going through the rest of this week into weekend and on into the next week. Let's get through to around the 27th though. This is 27th just here. We are seeing signs of a very, very gradual tick up with temperatures going up towards average. Won't be particularly exciting, but warming up a little bit. And at the same time, got a bit of a drying trend as well. They've got some heavy showers coming up tomorrow with that precipitation spike just there. And quite a bit of dry weather over weekend. More rainfall coming through at times next week. I don't think it's going to be a washout of a week by any means. It will still be a little bit unsettled. But after that, again, 27th just there. And we do see a bit of a drying trend then, taking us up towards the start of October, which is just here. It's not completely dry, but could even in this period be sort of some showery conditions at times. But it is drier, I think, as we go through to the end of September and into the start of October. Temperature anomalies for the coming week from the 17th to the 25th look around average, a little bit cooler than average probably, mostly at night. Daytime's probably not too bad, but it certainly is coolest in the west of Europe, and the warmth is still over in the east. The precipitation anomaly for the coming week looks drier than average across many places, so this does back up the idea that we've got a drying trend going through to the end of September. Here's the generic chart. This is the GFS showing high pressure ridging in off the Atlantic. Start next week, but we will have a trough coming through probably around Tuesday, bringing some showery rain down across the country Monday into Tuesday. Then the high pressure tries to ridge in again before it all sort of goes rather slack, and we probably bring another system down sometime around the middle or latter stages of next week. These systems are likely to be quite weak, I think. Don't be expecting really heavy rain, but just bring bands of showery rain through, probably 2 or 3 of them through the course of next week. But by the time you get through to day 10, this is Sunday the 27th, and then we've got the high pressure really building in very nicely. 1,030 millibar ridge is building in, bringing us probably warmish days, but probably quite cold nights. The night's getting very long now, of course. We'll be past the equinox by the 27th, so the sun will be down in the southern hemisphere. It can still be warm, of course, but I think if it's a clear high, then we'd like to have some pretty cold nights with that, possibly even with mist and fog. But in the sunshine by day, it shouldn't feel too bad. ECMWF a little bit more unsettled for next week, so we bring a proper area of low pressure rather than just a trough. Bring a proper area of low pressure down across the country through Monday into Tuesday. That's still hanging around as we get through into Wednesday next week, before a bit of a ridge tries to build from the Atlantic through Thursday, but still keeping weather systems up to the north and west, bringing some rain through at times, but ridge remains down to the south of the country. But again, by day 10, certainly the 27th of September, that high pressure is, excuse me, building in very nicely across the country, a proper build of pressure. So we lose the risk of those sort of showery bands coming through that we're going to have next week, and a proper build of pressure there, turning it mainly dry. Again, nights could be quite cold and about high pressure with mist and fog, maybe ground frost, but the daytime should feel pleasant enough as long as there's sunshine coming through. And finally, the GEM, let's just have a quick look and see what that's showing. Again, bringing the trough through the country through the start of next week. So Monday, Tuesday, we'll see bands of showery rain moving down across the country after a dry spell through this weekend. That trough still sitting with us into the middle part of next week, keeping it a bit showery. And we never really get rid of it actually on the GEM. It sits across central parts of Europe, particularly across Germany. And, well, it's enough there, close enough to still be bringing showers into the east and south. The overall trend is to still try and build a bit of ridging around the country, but not as strongly as we do on the other two. Now, the GEM is always a bit different. I think it's probably overdoing this area of low pressure across Central Europe through next week. And reading between the lines, I would suggest this is going towards the GEM and the GFS solution, or I should say the ECM and the GFS solution, which is to build a ridge around the 25th, 26th, 27th of September and give us a dry and pretty settled end to September, probably lasting into the start of October as well. So it's all sort of good news if you want a settled spell of weather, and it was a real deluge down in the southeast country yesterday, by the way, but if you want proper sustained settled weather, maybe the end of September, start of October is looking quite good. I just want to show you these maximum temperature forecast chart from the CFS V2 model from website weatherweb.net. These update on a daily basis. I thought I'd just throw this in and go off on a bit of a tangent. But this is the maximum, the 4-week maximum temperatures for the period from the 5th of December through to the 5th of January. It looks pretty cold there, with daytime maximum temperatures averaging out barely above freezing across many parts of the country from December into January. And then the week going from January into February, this is the week ending the 1st of February, looks even colder, with daytime temperatures averaged out through that monthly period, maximum temperatures hovering around freezing. Look how much cold it is across many parts of the continent, with average sort of temperatures there over the 4-weekly period, just -2, -3, and for us we are barely getting above freezing. I'm getting increasingly interested about this winter, and I'm not going to say too much more about it today, but we'll be doing the 3rd winter update on Sunday, and I am seeing quite a few early indications that we could be in for a more interesting winter than maybe I was expecting a few weeks ago. My sort of initial ideas about this coming winter was to be generally quite a mildish mild El Nino winter. But I am beginning to get a few doubts about it now. And, well, of course, these change on a daily basis, so they don't really mean very much. Tomorrow's could look very mild for these sort of 8-weekly period breakdown into 2 periods of 4 weeks, if you like. But tomorrow they could look very different. But the overall trend, I think, is moving gradually with these long-range models and some of the other things that we look at, moving gradually towards maybe a colder solution for the winter. There'll be a lot more about it on Sunday. Tomorrow, it's January, Friday. We'll look at the month ahead to see whether this build of pressure that's likely at the end of September is going to last into October. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.